and welcome to Quays News.
We are live across Manchester with these stories and more. A 3-year-old girl who was taken to hospital following a fire at a house in Salford has died. With the latest live.
He has entertained millions, but Bolton's funny man Peter Quays has had to cancel his entire upcoming tour.
And we take a look at the Manchester Hall that's being dubbed as the most haunted building in the city.
But first tonight, it has been confirmed that a 3-year-old girl taken to hospital following the fire at a house in Salford has died.
It comes on the day that 2 people have been charged with murder following the fire. Our reporter Sam Arl is here with the latest. So Sam, what do we know so far?
So the blaze has now claimed a 4th victim. 3-year-old Leah Pearson has died in hospital following the fire on Monday. Her sister Demi Pearson, aged 14, also 8-year-old Brandon and 7-year-old Lacey also died on Monday. Their mother, Michelle, is currently in hospital in a serious condition. We were at the Manchester and Salford Magistrates Court this morning where 23-year-old Zach Bolland and the 20-year-old Courtney Brearley, both from Worsley, were charged with 3 counts of murder and 1 count of arson with intent to endanger life. The judge actually adjourned the case, which will now be heard at the Manchester Crown Court tomorrow. The defendants spoke only to confirm their names. There were no applications for bail. Meanwhile, a 25-year-old man arrested on Tuesday remains in police custody for questioning. 3 other men were arrested in connection to the investigation. They have been released on bail. Greater Manchester Police have confirmed that there have been previous incidences at the house where the blaze happened. They've referred the case to the Independent Police Complaints Commission. We're going to be at the Manchester Crown Court tomorrow. We'll bring you the latest from there.
Thank you, Sam.
Thanks so much for that. And of course, we will keep you updated throughout the week as the story unfolds. He's the Northern King of Comedy, but today Peter Quays has announced he's cancelling his upcoming tour.
The comedian had 22 dates planned at the Manchester Arena and all were sold out. Our reporter Jessica Tidswell was down at the Manchester Arena earlier on today.
Yes, that's right. This was going to be Peter Quays' first tour in 8 years. He'd had a sellout of 22 nights at the arena behind me, but now there's going to be tens of thousands of disappointed fans up and down the country as he's had to cancel all of his tour dates, along with other scheduled work projects throughout 2018 and 2019. In a statement on Twitter, Peter Quays said, "My sincerest apologies. This decision has not been taken lightly, and I'm sure you'll understand my family must always come first." He's also had to cancel Dance for Life, which was in aid of cancer research. Fans have taken to Twitter to share their support for the comedian, saying, "As much as I'm gutted that Peter Quays has cancelled his tour, I have a lot of respect for him. As a person for putting his family's well-being first, will always be a legend." And for those of you who have bought Peter Quays tour tickets, you will be able to get a refund from your original point of purchase. But that's no good for those of you who have bought tickets for Christmas this year.
Now, the Mayor of Greater Manchester, Andy Burnham, has said today that our region's transport system is not good enough.
Yes, he's been in Leeds today speaking to transport bosses to outline his plans for a dramatic overhaul of the system. Our correspondent Mark is with us. Now, what can you tell us what he said today, Mark?
Yes, well, Andy Burnham was giving a keynote speech in Leeds today where he told transport bosses at the Urban Transport Group that transport in Greater Manchester is simply not good enough. He's come up with a 3-year plan to integrate the different modes of transport in Greater Manchester, and he set up a Mayor's Strategic Transport Board, and this is to do with getting the different bosses of all the different modes of transport to integrate better and work together. And they will work together with transport agencies such as Highway England and Network Rail and so on. And what they'll do is the Network Rail and Highways England will now be part of the Metrolink's 24-hour control centre. And and they will also introduce contactless payment, such as seen in the London Underground.
How much is it going to cost?
Well, he gave no real indication of how much this is going to cost, but he did make a few references to the North being deprived of funding, which is something he's continually voiced his frustrations about in the past, and he blames the current state of affairs with the Manchester transport system. He blames it on multiple governments, like both Labour and Conservative in the past, for depriving the North of investment in the transport and infrastructure and so on. And he's used the speech to put pressure on the government to put investment elsewhere rather than just London and the South East.
Perfect. Thanks so much for
Thank you
that.
very much, Mark. Still to come, we've got all the latest sports news.
And we see how Manchester is celebrating the life of Coronation Street's creator Tony Boren. But now the University of Salford have launched a campaign to make homeless women feel more comfortable this Christmas. A tampon tree has been put up to raise awareness of the university's campaign. The aim is to encourage staff and students to donate sanitary products which will be handed out to homeless women. This is part of the wider campaign to make sanitary products free for all students at the university. Donations will be collected at the Students' Union up until the 21st of December.
Well, I think that, it's a real struggle to feed yourself when you're on the streets, to house yourself, to find shelter, to water yourself, let alone keeping yourself clean. I think it's something that isn't really addressed within society and isn't thought about within society. And I think that as a students' union, we're progressive, we're open-minded, and we should be pushing out the messages that sanitary product poverty or period poverty is an issue.
Now, we covered this story earlier on in the week, but the new fundraising campaign launched to refurbish the therapeutic garden of the Emmeline Pankhurst in Salford has already reached its target of £20,000. It now means they can transform the gardens into a comforting place for women who are victims of domestic abuse and visit the centre regularly.
And could one of the most haunted places in Manchester be right on your doorstep? Well, Auto Hall in Salford is reportedly being named as the most haunted building in the area. The hall dates back to the 1300s and is one of the oldest buildings in the city.
So we would love to hear from you. Do you know of a haunted building near you? Maybe you've encountered a ghost? Let us know on Twitter at Quays News.
But now, let's see what's with sport.
And in the sport today, United and City are both back in action tonight. The sports presenter Jamal Nayers has a full wrap of tonight's fixtures, as well as a cameo from ex-pro Paul Fletcher.
After Sunday's derby win, the City of Manchester remains blue, and Manchester City will be looking to maintain their 11-point lead at the top of the table tonight as they face Swansea at the Liberty Stadium. And fans won't be short on confidence considering this rich vein of form.
We'll win tonight. Yeah, I'm very confident, because Swansea are down at the bottom. Although William Boney's playing, he'll want to have a good game against us, but I think we'll beat Swansea tonight. 1-0, 2-0.
Man City should win it quite easily, looking on the league table, but doesn't work like that.
As an ex-player, what would your thought process be going into tonight's game? Because it must be difficult to stay grounded considering the massive points gap.
Yes, it is, but they will come here, they'll put up a battle. It's important that City don't think they'll just going to have to turn up and pull the shirt on and they've automatically won the game. It will be a battle tonight. The Premiership, nearly all the games are tough games. Michael beats Burnley and we beat Stoke last night. It was a tough game. We managed to go into 4th place, Burnley Football Club in 4th place. How good is that? Yeah. So, I've always been fascinated by this wonderful, wonderful game of football. But what I've learned over the years is there's no definites. Could turn it around tonight. Swansea could win. That's what makes it exciting for the crowd.
Here at Old Trafford, the weather is about as miserable as the mood here. But Manchester United will be looking to get back to winning ways as they host Bournemouth in the Premier League tonight. Zlatan Ibrahimovic is in line for his first start of the season, while Paul Pogba remains out.
I think they've got to get I think they have to get that result. I mean, if they don't, the likes of Chelsea and Arsenal are going to be right on their back, to be honest. So I think they will get the result. But if they don't, I think Mourinho's people are going to start asking him questions like they've been asking for Klopp and Conte, because they spent a lot of money in the summer.
So a win for both Manchester sides tonight is very important. Manchester City will look to continue their quest for the Premier League title, while Manchester United will look to keep any sense of a title race alive. Let's see how both teams do.
Now, from 2 big games in the Premier League to the all-important crucial third Ashes test that could decide the fate of the series. Lancashire's James Anderson will hope to turn the fortunes of the visitors around and hope to move on from the incident where a drink was poured over his head. England are currently 2-0 down in the series and decided to go with an unchanged side. Fast bowler Craig Overton retains his place after getting his first cap in the previous test. The only real change they've made is swapping wicket-keeper batsman Johnny Bairstow with Moeen Ali in the batting order. We'll be covering this series throughout the week and on the website at keysnews.net, so make sure to check that out. Now, whilst the England players prepare down under, Lancashire Cricket Club have paid a visit to Manchester Children's Hospital today. The annual visit saw a number of players from the club visit the children on the wards. They handed out selection boxes and presents, and the players appreciated being able to spread the Christmas cheer.
We've come here the last few years now to give out some selection boxes and presents to the children and show our support really, and here for the staff as well, and appreciate all the hard work they do as well. Some of them don't know who you are, but yeah, we've got selection boxes and stuff like that, so it always brings a smile to the face. And yeah, with the family myself, it's tough seeing kids not well at times, but yeah, to get a smile on a child's face, it is all worth it in the end.
Now it's day 6 of the World Squash Championships in Manchester, and here are some of the fixtures for tonight's games. England's Nick Matthew has a place in tomorrow's quarter-final, whilst later today, England's Victoria Luss will be playing for a place in the quarters. Her game starts at 6 o'clock tonight. So, you played squash before?
Well, my dad's played. He was quite a good player back in his day, so I gave it a go when I was younger. And I've played tennis, so hopefully, if ever I do play, those skills will come in handy.
I'm sure. I've played before, but my skills are below 0.
Thanks, Adam. Thanks.
But now, finally, it's the programme that's been in our front rooms for over 50 years.
And now the mastermind behind Coronation Street, Tony Warren, is having his life celebrated in a new exhibition. Our reporter Meg Lee went to have a look.
The Coronation Street tour may be over, but Salford Art Museum and Gallery are displaying the story of how Tony Warren created the long-running serial drama.
So the exhibition talks about Tony's life, what he did before he wrote Coronation Street, the inspirations around him while he was living in Salford. That runs up to him right in the first episode of Coronation Street.
The exhibition celebrates the show's gay following, which is important to its creator.
He was always outwardly gay at a time when it was illegal to be gay, so we thought that was quite a big thing to talk about. And also Coronation Street's had a big gay following since it started. And then we try and set the scene a little bit of Salford in the 1950s, which is when Tony was growing up here. And to do that, we worked with a local artist called David Coulter, who grew up at the same time as Tony in the same sort of areas. And he produced some paintings specifically for this exhibition, which is sort of reminiscence of Salford in the 1950s.
Fans can also see a recreated set of an iconic character's living room.
We've also done a little room set up so people can sit in a sort of recreated 1950s room, which is loosely based on Ken Barlow's living room from the first episode. There was loads of things that we had to work with, so we were just trying to pick out some of the star items. So we've got the first script from Florizel Street, which is what Coronation Street was called before it became Coronation Street. We've got Tony's typewriter. So it's starting with the objects first and the stories that you want to bring across, and then it's linking the two together and making it make sense as a whole.
The exhibition is here until July next year to commemorate the life of Tony Warren, so come down and explore the world that he created of Coronation Street. This is Meg Lee for Quays News.
I'll definitely need to check that out, but now let's get the weather with Lauren.
As you can see, it's a windy day with frequent and heavy blustery showers. We've had a little bit of rain, but as it begins to get colder, snow will fall. The wintry showers will continue overnight, turning gusty at times with patchy frost and ice. We've got polar opposites cast for tomorrow with sunny spells and wintry showers, remaining pretty cold, especially over the snow cover, leading to an overall yellow warning of ice over the next 2 days. You'll be wanting to avoid slips like these.
Back to the haunted buildings, we asked you earlier if you knew of any haunted houses and you've got in touch with our favourites. There's been a few tweets coming in, some mixed opinions. Nicola, would you ever go into a haunted house?
I wouldn't, to be honest, but I live nearby also, so
also,
I could have a look.
It seems like a really old building, quite spooky, but at the same time a lot of things goes on in the building, as in, you know, they have people for tours and they have children in there, so maybe it would affect them.
Would make sense,
if the children knew if it is a haunted house, then
maybe.
If the children
would
knew,
you go?
maybe,
would you go there?
I'd give it a go. I'd give it a try. I think, you know, I'm a big boy, so I think I could probably handle myself. I don't want to tempt fate, but yeah, I think I'd give it a go.
We can go there together later on, right?
Sounds good.
All right. Well, that's all from us today, and you can find out more at quaysnews.net.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.